As we have seen with recessions and as we have seen with the Great Depression, there can be market failure. And this happens when markets ignore the environment's positive impacts or negative effects of activities on the environment or people, where it fails to consider the external costs. In these cases, the government does try to intervene to try to help counter the market failure. They do so by putting in laws and regulations that we're going to see in the next chapter. They'll even tax harmful activities to help reduce those activities from happening. They will offer economic incentives to promote fairness and conservation and sustainability. One of the examples is they will give pollution permits. If you show that you've cut back, improved your equipment, then they will permit you to pollute a certain amount as long as you made those steps in correcting them. They pay landowners for ecosystem services as well. So these are some of the things that the government will do. One of the things that they look for is something called eco-labeling, and this serves to inform consumers which brands use environmentally benign processes, meaning that they won't hurt the environment. There's incentives for businesses to change to eco-labeling. So one example would be dolphin safe tuna, which is an organic food. They catch tuna in nets or on these long lines with multiple hooks, and sometimes dolphins get caught up in this and they wind up dying. So there's other methods of collecting tuna that prevents dolphins from dying. So we also take a look at socially responsible investing, and this is where companies that have met the criteria for environmental or social sustainability, that they can then invest. This is a fast-growing trend. Investors put $3.7 trillion into socially responsible investing, and that's about 11% of all investments that have happened over the past few years. So this would be your eco-labeling. And then you notice I want to go back, fair trade. I saw fair trade certified. So that usually means that they get their products from people in underdeveloped countries, and money goes to them, and that it's been done sustainably. So many industries and businesses and corporations are greening their operations. They are finding ways to enhance energy efficiency and reduce toxic substances. They are trying to increase their use of recycled materials. They're trying to minimize their greenhouse emissions, and they're discovering that they are reducing their costs and they're increasing their profits. So that's an important advantage. Eco-conscious image, from the start, companies that are eco-conscious are like Ben & Jerry's ice cream that you've heard about, Patagonia, which is an outdoor apparel company, 7th Generation, which does household products. These are some things that you might have heard before, and they are part of sustainable businesses that are growing. There are changes that are being made by large companies to fit, like McDonald's and Starbucks and Intel and Ford Motor Company and Toyota and IKEA. You can read all the ones. I won't read them all. They are trying to provide and promote sustainability. IBM was judged the greenest large company when it was surveyed in 2012. Hewlett-Packard runs programs to reuse and recycle used toner cartridges and electronics and plastics, and Dell reuses and recycles about 98% of its non-hazardous wastes. So this has led to something called greenwashing, And greenwashing is where consumers can be misled into thinking that companies are acting more sustainably than they are. And you get this from your pure water, your plastic bottled water companies, and tests have shown that they're not necessarily safer or better for you. Um, and that would be considered greenwashing. Corporate actions hinge on your consumer behavior. Uh, the book, the company that published our book, Pearson Education, became the first global media company to become climate neutral. They eliminated the net carbon emissions by installing solar and wind energy to power the facilities. So that's something that a corporation does to become sustainable, and we need to support that sustainability. Walmart provides the highest profile example of corporate greenhouse efforts. It advocates for sustainability, and it's been criticized. The company responded by launching a quest to sell organic and sustainable products. As a result of this, so sustainable development, economic advancement that uses resources in a manner that satisfies our current needs but does not compromise the future availability. When we consider development, it's used to describe how the natural resources are going to be used for economic advancement, and it makes purposeful changes intended to improve the quality of human life. The poor suffer the most from our environmental degradation, and it takes that into account. And we're working towards common goals economically and environmentally. So we have something called the triple bottom line. And the triple bottom line is a trio of goals that include economic advancement, environmental protection, and social equality. And humans must apply their knowledge from the sciences to be able to maintain this triple bottom line. Sustainable development has blossomed, and it needs to continue to build. We need to limit our environmental impacts, and we need to maintain functioning environmental systems if we are to have resources for ourselves and future generations. So here's that triple bottom line, and this is where sustainable development falls in. Okay, so there's Millennium Development Goals that have been established to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, to achieve universal primary education, to promote gender equality and empower women, to reduce child mortality in underdeveloped countries that's at a high rate, to improve maternal health, to combat diseases like HIV, malaria, and other diseases, to ensure environmental sustainability, and to develop a global partnership for development. You are the millennials, and these are goals that you guys came up with, your generation. Okay. So in conclusion, recent developments have brought economic approaches to bear on environmental protection and conservation. So we've got to look for that. This includes corporate sustainability and eco-labeling, ways to measure growth. It also involves environmental ethics and environmental justice, and that economics and welfare can be enhanced without growth and increasing economic health and environmental quality. And we need to be sustainable in our development that seeks the triple bottom line.